Hey Chamber Pros, I had a few questions on what the inside of this planner actually looks like. So I'm actually going to flip through so you can see it and decide for yourself if it's right for you. So right off the bat, you'll see that I have tabs. These do not come with the planner. These are paper tabs that are kind of like sticky notes that I buy from a craft store, Amazon, wherever you want. So you might want to get plastic ones if you're going to take it a lot of places. Here's mine from this year. As you can see, they are a little worn for wear, but I like to buy them and I like to use ones for the months. And then I also use them. These red ones are actually for my 12-week goals. And there are 4 quarterly sections of these goals. The left-hand side you would use as a brain dump or a parking lot, and then you would go through your different ideas and prioritize your top 3 for the 12 weeks, as well as detailing any steps you need to take to make that happen. You can also assign yourself due dates and then transfer them over to your calendar. Speaking of calendar, I do have a 1-page year at a glance, as well as some holidays to keep in mind, like Mom and Pop Biz Owners Day, which is March 29th. I also like to include a blank year at the glance. So this one is not dated. Mostly I like to use this to plan larger events or other things that happen across multiple months. It's usually just a note page for myself. Also a note page for yourself is near the cover. It says aspirational visions, 3-year vision. What are 3 things your chamber will stand by this year? And what are 3 promises you're making to your chamber members or community this year? So those don't have to be publicized. Those can be just things to help keep yourself on track if you like to have some self-motivation. After the 12-week goals page, I then have a quarterly look at a glance. So in case this style doesn't work for you, you're able to actually look at the dates for the next 3 months coming up. And then it goes into a full page of your month. It is pre-dated. There is a smaller box for next month's dates, a box for people to see. I changed birthdays to special dates up in the top right. I've also made a box for priorities. That's probably a good place to write your 12-week tasks. And then also don't forget, which is generally notes that I write for myself. And then down here, you can't see it because I purposely made it faint. It's basically a scribble or brainstorm box. It is a very light grid so that it's not distracting, but if you need help writing straight like I do, it's there for you. And then I also like to stalk many of you on Twitter. You just don't know it yet. So I am trying to work in more chamber specific quotes on the monthly pages, but not all of them are chamber specific. Some are just ones that I really like. Then you have a weekly planner, which is actually what I wanted. I wanted to be able to have all of my weekly planners. And then there's also a weekly meeting notes page. And the reason I wanted to self-publish on Amazon is because this is a bound book. It is not a spiral notebook, so it will not be easily torn out. So that way you can't lose pages when you flip through stuff a lot like I do. So then if I remember that, oh, I took notes on that in a meeting that happened in June, I can actually just flip back to June and go to that meeting page. So again, this is my weekly planner. I have made the lines on the to-do list skinnier if you got last year's planner because I was running out of space and I needed more lines to write down on. On the left-hand side is basically workspace. So this is just a blank box and then aligned blanks, and then gratitude in case you want to practice that, as well as an overview of the current month dates. Like I said, there is a meeting page note every week. I'm sure many of you need even more than that, but I didn't want this book to be too thick. And then at the end of the month, I've created a monthly habit tracker for you. You would fill these in yourself. For those of you that want to do it, you would basically write in the thing you want to do. For some people, it might be drink water or tell someone you love them or exercise, whatever it might be. You would just write it across the top. And then they're all 31 days because I'm lazy like that. A lot of people either check it off or write in a number, or some people like to use colors. And then my favorite page is also at the end of the month. So I have created boxes for created, improved, prevented, consistently, reduced, wins, things to change, things that made me happy, and then a big box for things to report. Last year, I only had 5 and they were good, but I realized I liked having different prompts. So a lot of times I had trouble filling in if I didn't have a lot of things to say on a specific topic, or I just wanted to log that I got done, but that doesn't necessarily mean it worked. But I really recommend filling at that end of the month page. And you can also take notes on it as you go throughout the month. Sometimes that's very helpful, especially if you need to remember to bring something up to a particular meeting. A lot of times I also color code a lot. So again, this is last year's journal. Black is just usually normal tasks or things to do. Green is something that I did. Blue is usually something I need to bring up to staff or my boss. Red is usually a really, really important deadline or a very timely thing. I also started adding in pink to differentiate chamber events from other events like webinars. I like to color code. I hope you'll always hear me say that. Then at the end of the quarter, so after 3 months, we have a 12-week goals recap page. So what goals did you achieve and what happened because of them? What goals or tasks made the biggest difference moving the chamber forward? What will you improve or do differently going forward? So if you made progress on your goals, great, that's kind of the point. But if you didn't, just try to figure out why or what got in the way, or just log what progress you did make, because just taking action on them, even if it's very small, is the biggest step that you have to take to complete any goal. And then again, you'll get a new 12-week page and quarterly overview, and then of course the monthlies. And then just to clarify the order of the pages, I try to keep everything in chronological order. So it starts off with the 12-week goals, and then it goes into your month, and then you have a weekly planner, meeting page, weekly planner, meeting page, until you get to the end of the month, and then it goes to the next month, and that will repeat. And then after 3 months, you'll have your end of quarter, which is a recap. Again, that's at the end of the quarter, so if you can tell, that's 3 months. And then it'll start the new quarter with your 12-week goals. And then again, you're repeating monthly, weekly pages. At the very end of the planner, I like to do a 1-page overview of next year. That way, if you need to double check any dates for your upcoming events next year, there's also a 1-page notes page for next year. But then again, I like those monthly overviews. So these will all be next year's dates, but then there's also a box for it. So no matter where you are in the month, if you decide to buy a different calendar or planner next year, you will have those same notes. You can jot down things pretty quickly, months ahead of time. Usually these are self notes or things I want to remind myself of, or important dates that I know I'll forget. And so whenever I get my new planner, even if it's not mine, it's okay, you do you. I can just quickly go through these, and I check these notes first before I start going through other information. So that is the 2021 planner. Let me know your feedback. I actually make a few minor changes to this every year, where I try to revamp certain pages or add in other ones. I've thought about trying to do like monthly worksheets, but I haven't quite decided what would be a great fit for the chamber. And then different chambers would be at different places for the month. So I haven't quite been able to flush that idea out on my own. So again, if you have ideas or feedback, please let me know. While part of my purpose is to actually help support my blog, theeasywest.com, I also just want it to be useful. One of the reasons I actually printed this was for myself, so that I could have it set up in a certain way that I wanted. But now that I've sort of got a system going, I also want it to be helpful to you. So let me know what's useful for you, what's missing, or just what worked. I'd love to see, and even if you don't like mine and you go with another one, that's okay. I hope you guys have a great 2021. Lord knows we're tired of 2020.